the TikTok dances went absolutely crazy, and just like R. Kelly outside an all-girl high school, they were completely unavoidable. Jesus, I need to get some new jokes. I'm actually gonna get cancelled. My dark humor is gonna get me into a lot of trouble.
What kind of help?
I need somebody to help me beat my meat until you hear a big fart. Okay?
Okay, so we are well and truly into 2020, and what a year it has been so far. Like, we are only 2 months in, but it's actually crazy the amount of things that happened in January and February. But it's funny because the worst is actually still to come. Like, in March, that's when shit really began to hit the fan, Wuhan style. And just like Boris ignoring his children, he really tried to ignore the coronavirus. And unlike Madeleine McCann, it just wouldn't go away. It didn't. See, the joke didn't really hit. Do you know what? Factually, that's actually incorrect. I just needed an excuse to make a Madeleine McCann joke, but I think that's the best that I've got to give at the moment. So we're just gonna move on. Yeah, we'll just move on.
Things like closing schools and stopping big gatherings don't work as well, perhaps, as people think. You know, perhaps you could sort of take it on the chin, take it all in one go, and allow the disease, as it were, to move through the population.
But yes, the virus. We're just gonna call it the virus because I don't want to get demonetized. Like, if I say the word, yes, I bleep that out. YouTube will actually demonetize me, and we don't want to be doing that. But the Conservative government tried their absolute hardest to duck this virus, like Deontay Wilder was ducking AJ. However, the virus was now live and direct in the UK, no Tracy. And I'm just gonna say that wordplay was amazing, Ore. I'm just gonna give myself a pat on the back while we're here. Yeah, amazing. But for the first time in my lifetime, the United Kingdom was placed on a nationwide lockdown.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home. Because the critical thing we must do to stop the disease spreading between households.
And with this lockdown, it meant you couldn't go to other people's houses, you couldn't get a haircut, you couldn't go to the gym, you couldn't go and link a gal off of Tinder, but realistically, why would you want to do that anyway? And most importantly, the most important thing to us people here in Britain, we could not go to the pub. It's a travesty, honestly. Like, I'm just so sad. I just can't go to the pub. It's just such a sad time. But effectively, the entire country shut down. And you know what, yeah, I keep saying it, but looking back, it was actually quite a crazy time in Britain. Like, it felt like an apocalypse of some sort. And it really got crazy when people were in supermarkets doing stupid shit like this. Like, when you really and truly deep it, yeah, we had people in Tesco's and Sainsbury's fighting in aisle 7 over some flipping toilet roll. And to this day, I don't understand why. Like, what was it specifically that everyone needed toilet roll for? Because toilet roll doesn't cure corona. Not only were people stockpiling toilet roll, we had people stockpiling flour, people holding on to pasta, and you know what? There was a whole heap of things. It was quite a dark time in not only Britain, just across the world.
Items like toilet roll, hand sanitizer and pasta are now increasingly hard to come by as coronavirus-linked panic buying continues.
Anyways, as each day went by, we were learning more and more about the Rona and how it was going to impact our daily lives. And the sad thing was, the cases were actually starting to increase at a super alarming rate. Do you know what, yeah, I'm not even gonna lie, I can actually forgive the British people for not really knowing what to do. Like, we've never lived in a situation like this before, and we weren't getting clear, like, governance from the government. They weren't really telling us or giving us a clear picture of what to do. I don't want to get into politics, but when did they ever tell us really what to do? But that's a whole nother story.
To be considerate of each other when it comes to buying, particularly when the most vulnerable in society might not be able to find the items that they need.
Now, I want to ask you a very simple rhetorical question, yeah? Simple question. If you knew that there was a deadly virus running the streets like Tupac, would you go to a hospital and shake the hands of people that had just been infected? No, of course you wouldn't. Why? Because you're not a idiot, that's why. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in step the British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson.
I'm shaking hands continuously. I was at a hospital the other night where I think there were actually a few coronavirus patients, and I shook hands with everybody. You'll be pleased to know, and I continue to shake hands. And
anyways, you know, I've spoken about Boris a lot, but luckily for him, he shook the people's hands, and it wasn't like he was going to catch coronavirus anyway. Like, surely not.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced this morning that he has tested positive for the coronavirus. He's now in self-isolation at his London residence, that's 10 Downing Street, and he's still running the British government.
I've developed mild symptoms of the coronavirus, that's to say a temperature and a persistent cough. And on the advice of the chief medical officer, I've taken a test that has come out positive.
Oh wait, he caught COVID? Boris? What an idiot. Now, if I say the word savage to you, what comes to mind? 21 Savage? Robbie Savage? Dior Sauvage? Savage X Fenty? Well, if any of those answers were the answers you would have given, I would have given you a massive X, because you are wrong. Because in the month of March, there was only one Savage, and her name was Meg the Stallion. Now, for copyright reasons, I can't actually play any clips from the song or from the video because I don't want to get pulled off of YouTube. However, if I could actually give an award to one person for Person of the Year, Meg the Stallion will come #1 on every single one of those lists, because quite frankly, she's had a flipping amazing year. Now, I don't want to go into detail just yet because there are other things that happened later in the year regarding Meg the Stallion. So we're just gonna hold our horses and we're gonna revisit that a little bit later. So, as the whole world was in quarantine, no radio, the TikTok dances went absolutely crazy, and just like R. Kelly outside an all-girl high school, they were completely unavoidable. Jesus, I need to get some new jokes. I'm actually gonna get cancelled. My dark humor is gonna get me into a lot of trouble.
What kind of help?
I need somebody to help me beat my meat until you hear the big fart. Okay?
But yes, throughout the month of March, we had everyone telling us that they were a savage, that they were bougie, and of course, that they were ratchet. It even got to the stage where African aunties got in on the act.
I'm a savage, you. Classy. Boogie. Racket. Sasai. Moody. Nastai. Acting stupid. What is happening? Beachy. What's happening? I'm a savage.
And if that wasn't enough, the queen of Wakanda herself, the leader of Africa, Beyonce, decided that she wanted a piece of the pie and that she was going to jump in on the remix. Now I'm going to stop right here because I don't want any smoke from Beyonce's fans. They scare me. I don't want it. I'm not in it. I'm going to stop. Like, I would much rather run into ISIS in a dark alleyway with an American flag draped across my back than go to war with Beyonce's fans. They scare me. I don't want it. I don't want any part of it. We are gonna move on.
However, the Beehive was tripping yet again. Beyonce's fan base decided to go on Nicole's page and attack her with bee emojis. And the Beehive was doing the most. They were even saying that Nicole was trying to make a pass at Jay-Z right in front of Beyonce.
But the Savage dance wasn't the only TikTok craze to hit the world in the month of March. Oh no, there was the Renegade. You see, I was gonna attempt to do the dance myself, but I'm not coming on YouTube to embarrass myself. So while we're here, a special shout out goes to Jalaya Harmon, and I need to make sure I say her name properly because she's the one who actually created the dance. And as ever, didn't get recognition from it, stealing from black women once again. And not only that, it got gentrified by those people, the ones with no rhythm. You know who I'm on about. We're not gonna say their name, but you know exactly who I'm thinking about, them. And then as well as the Renegade, another one of my favorite TikTok crazes from this year had to be Ty Dolla $ign with Baby Come Give Me Something New. Ooh yeah. I know you lot be hearing the vocals, man. I know you hear it, but it's fine. We move. Now, I don't actually know how this started. I don't know why it started. This song actually came out in like 2017, 2018 from what I can remember. But it's an absolute vibe. And once again, teams were doing shout outs. I want to give a shout out to this uncle because he went in. He went in.
Baby, come give me something. Oh. Baby, come give me something. Oh.
Man said, I'm gonna do a Shakira because these hips don't lie. He said, you guys are gonna see this waistline one way or another. And I absolutely love it. I love it. Okay, so just to move on super quickly because there was 1,000,001 things happening in March. March was also the month where we first got introduced to the Instagram battles. Most notably, the versus battles brought to us by Swiss Beats and Timbaland. And I can't lie, the versus battles did give us some amazing moments, but we are short on time, so I'm gonna save that for another episode once again. And before we go into the final part of this video, I don't know why I'm doing that with my hands. Shout out to Dexter Daps. Dexter Daps gave us and gave me personally one of my favorite songs of this year. Do you see this rhythm, yeah? I don't do drugs. If I did, I'd snort a line of cocaine to this song. Mum, I'm sorry if you're watching this.
Stop fighting, make him fight for you like Tyson. You're too nice to him, but why love him belly just rising him. Breaking news, I'm not killing girl like this because I pussy too good. Breaking news, girl your pussy too good. Breaking news, hey, that's on. Breaking news.
Can I just say, I personally prefer the Instagram version. It just hits a little bit different. And also, how did he release this whilst in prison? Like, for the longest time, Vybz Kartel has been releasing music whilst incarcerated. Does he have like a studio set up in there? Can somebody fill me in what's going on in Jamaica's prison system? Because clearly everyone's just making music while they're inside, but we move. Anyways, do you know who should be in prison? Tory Lanez. You see, over here, yeah, we don't really with Tories, whether they're the Conservative government or they're 4'3" men. We don't any Tories whatsoever.
Well, all some niggas talking, but we hate the let's get it. Let's go. I don't want to rap no more.
So I'm not gonna lie, yeah, a part of me didn't really know whether to talk about Tory Lanez on this specific episode due to some other events that unfolded later on in the year. And ironically, those events are in relation to somebody else that we've spoken on this particular episode. But it's kind of mad how everything's so intertwined and it's all linked together, but that's besides the point. I guess we kind of do have to talk about it because it's unavoidable and it was such a massive thing that happened this year. I am, of course, talking about quarantine radio.
Meg, are you joining the official twerk competition?
I am the queen of this shit.
We're gonna let your song run right now, Meg.
Once again, I just really want to stress from the jump, we don't with Tory Lanez over on this side. Don't mess with him at all. You know, puta madre and all of them, man. We don't like Tory Lanez. However, throughout the month of March, I literally found myself sitting at home and just saying, quarantine, quarantine, quarantine radio, quarantine, quarantine, for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I'll be honest, yeah, quarantine radio is actually a very, very stupid concept, and it actually shows just how horny everyone was and is. Because, alright, cool, how do I explain this? Effectively, what he would do is he would go on Instagram Live with other women, and he will just ask them to shake their cheeks and twerk for the camera. And then he will scream, quarantine, quarantine, make funny noises in the background, bark like a dog, and hundreds of thousands of people will flock to his flipping Instagram to watch it. It's funny, sorry, my mind just wandered and I just remembered there was a woman with a gummy bear and there was a woman with milk in a swimming pool. But I'm not gonna put that video up because, yeah, YouTube will probably ban me for life. So I'm pretty sure you can go incognito for that. Do you know what, yeah, now that we're actually here talking about Tory Lanez, I want to talk about why this guy insisted on wearing a do-rag. Because this nigga has 0 waves. He doesn't even have a hairline. The waves that Tory Lanez has are the waves that Fuse ODG was singing about in the live lounge. And if you know what I'm on about, you know. And if you don't know what I'm on about, okay, I'll insert the video here.
You are not around, I'm slowly drifting away, wave after wave, wave after wave, slowly drifting, drifting away, and it feels like I'm drowning.
Do you know what? I'm not going to talk about Tory Lanez anymore. I've said more than enough, and I don't want this episode to become a Tory Lanez episode, so we're just going to nip it in the bud here. If you want to go and find out more about quarantine radio, as I said before, YouTube is free, Google is free. Go do your research. But one thing that I'm not going to do on my platform is speak about a man that shoots black women. So I want to emphasize once again, Tory Lanez, man. Okay, cool. On that note, let's head over to April. I'm pretty sure there are some amazing, exciting things that happened in the month of April in the wonderful year of 2020. And scene. Okay, so the challenge was very, very simple. It started off with women, and as ever, men came in and absolutely ruined it. But it started off with women in their houses wearing everyday loungewear, minimal makeup, in the comfort of their homes, and then with a wave of a magic brush, that was a sick catch, they would absolutely transform Alakazam, Tulia Malaika, Shanta de Boscoto, and they'll be looking all dressed up, all fancy and amazing, ready to give their life savings and all their money to Mariam Mula from SPAC Nation.
This is Tamar Michelle Goff. Mariam defrauded me about between 77 and 100,000 pounds.
To my girls this morning, I don't know what you think is happening in this house. I tell you what to do with your finances. I tell you where you're going. It's not like you have an option. A house of order is a house that will prosper.